Today I'm going to be teaching you about the motor system. What does the motor system do? It is responsible for voluntary and involuntary movements within the body. A voluntary movement is characterized as a controlled action that goes from the brain to the spinal cord to muscles. Involuntary movements are things such as reflexes, posture control that happens on its own and is regulated by the body itself. We're going to be breaking down voluntary movements, what happens when a voluntary movement occurs, and involuntary muscle contractions. What are these? At the end, I'd like you to summarize and also ask a question. Voluntary movements. Once a decision is made, it is sent to the cerebral cortex where the upper motor neurons are located. Once they receive the message of what the desired action is, they then inform the lower motor neurons which muscles need to be contracted so that action can be completed. Lower motor neurons, which are located in the peripheral nerves, receive the information from the upper motor neurons on which muscles need to be contracted and go about contracting them and relaxing other muscles to then complete the desired action that started the process. That is how voluntary movements work within the body. Involuntary muscle contractions happen within the lower motor neurons. They are things like muscle cramps, fasciculations, which is normally seen as eye twitching, and tremors. They are involuntary, so they are not desired actions that have a decision made in the beginning. They just happen without any control. Would you like to summarize back what I just talked to you?
Okay, so the motor system has voluntary, involuntary movements.
Correct.
Involuntary is like balance and posture changes. Voluntary is where you have an actual message come from the brain that goes to upper motor neurons, sends out a message to the lower motor neurons to complete that message.
Correct. It'd be like if I wrote on the whiteboard, I want to pick up the pen, which then is an upper motor neuron receiving that action, and which muscles, it then sends information down to the lower motor neurons on which muscles need to contract for me to pick up a pen and write on a whiteboard.
Okay. And then involuntary muscle contractions just occur.
Correct.
Okay. What makes them just occur?
So an involuntary muscle contraction occurs when an upper motor neuron is overstimulated and sends mass signals down to the lower motor neurons. So instead of a decision being made and the upper motor neuron having a desired action to complete, the upper motor neuron is overstimulated by some external force, and then it then sends mass signals down to the lower motor neurons, which then result in things like muscle cramps, tremors, or fasciculations.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Any more questions?
Nope.
And that concludes our lesson for motor system today.